Big news is dropped for the fantasy football world. Travis Hunter's going to injured reserve. He's going to be out at least the next 4 games. Next man up appears to be Parker Washington, Dyami Brown, and we're going to be looking deep into this Jaguars offense to see who you want to pick up for your fantasy football team, maybe start or stay away from. Before we dig in, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now, because we're doing these deep dives every single day on as many players as possible. Sometimes we roll out 5, 10, 1, 2, but when news happens, we're going to be here with the advanced analytics, the perspective that you need and want to make your decisions. On top of that, we're going deeper on the waiver wire with content than anybody else on YouTube in the fantasy football space. And then we're also helping you set your lineups, looking at the matchups, looking at the rankings, helping you make those plays. Click that button. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. You do not want to disappoint Ric Flair. And to be the man, you got to be the man. And the man is going to IR. Travis Hunter is going to IR. So this is going to shake things up. This is going to shake things up for the rankings this week. This is going to shake things up for fantasy football. Target distribution for the Jaguars. Something to look into. And going down, looking at Travis Hunter, he had his breakout game in week 7, coming off a bye. 101 yards, 8 balls caught, 7 targets the week prior to that as well. And before that, it was a rough season. He was in his rookie ramp up. He is ramping up. He's adjusting to the game. It is what it is. Brian Thomas Jr., slower season compared to last year. New coaching staff, offensive changes, everything else. Also some changes in the numbers when it comes to workload. Stick with me if you're interested in that. That will be up here in a few minutes. But maybe we see some more targets go his way. Maybe, or maybe Parker Washington. He has 2 games here with double-digit targets and 88% snap rate. Maybe he's the next man in line. Maybe he'll get some more workload. When you're looking at the snapshot, he's got a high potential of seeing more workload. You're looking at what he's done throughout the years with the Jaguars. Hasn't done much. Has 1 wide receiver 1 week. Has flashed a little bit. He was a 6th-round pick from Penn State, has good ball skills, but really hasn't done much on the field. This year, he has 2 games where he reached double digits in PPR scoring. Last year, he had 3. His rookie season, he had 2. So he'll get there from time to time, and they did not have Travis Hunter back then. They had Christian Kirk, but Christian Kirk was banged up. He came into that time playing and was all right in those moments, but he wasn't a huge hitter for fantasy football. And you're looking at the work rate metrics here from their last game, our most recent contest, to get some indicators. 51 routes ran by Parker Washington, 18 by Dyami Brown. I imagine Dyami Brown is going to see an increase of work. I imagine he's going to be out there more. I imagine he's going to be a player in deeper leagues you're going to look at. I would not be surprised if he comes out of nowhere in some of these contests, outscores Parker Washington. That's something to pay attention to. Parker Washington, 10 targets in week 7 against the Rams. Rams trying to take away Brian Thomas Jr., them having to go to other outlets in the offense. Also more passing volume with them being down in this matchup because of context of the game script. You're looking at these wide receivers, this depth chart. Brian Thomas Jr. is the man in the offense. He's not looking like it per fantasy production, but he is. Dyami Brown, potential next man up, very explosive playmaker. Parker Washington looks like the targets and the routes ran per game is going to go up at least to a certain percentage, and he's the guy everybody's going to focus on. Tim Patrick is a crafty vet that has some goods to his game, good for the NFL's sake, not really for fantasy. They're in 3 wide receiver sets, 71.1% of the time. That is something to note. Brian Thomas Jr. has 1 wide receiver 1 week on the season. He's hit double digits 3 times. Technically, has busted every game but 1, depending on what you need in your lineup in the context of your league. 4.33 40-yard dash, blew up last year as a rookie. We're seeing if he can get things straightened up. 11 points per game is not good for a guy that was drafted on the tail of round 1. Dyami Brown, I'm very interested in him. At North Carolina, he had a good prospect profile. He went into the middle of the draft in 2021. Has always been this guy we're keeping an eye on. At Washington, he never really fired. He's not really firing yet here for the Jaguars. This year, you have a game with 17.6 PPR fantasy points. I would not be surprised if he blows up a game or so, or if he has a random game with a lot of workload. I would not be surprised if he does something. I would not be surprised because you can use him in the slot. You can move him around. He's a very dynamic playmaker. Very interesting profile from this kid. You're looking at the target share of these wide receivers. Dyami Brown and Parker Washington, dead nuts almost. 13.8 versus 12.16 on the rates. Parker edging that out. Brian Thomas Jr., like I said earlier, this is what caught my eye when I pulled this up. A 21.8% target share, ADOT of 12.5. So the ADOT's fine. We're in double digits. It's actually great. The target share for him and what you drafted him as, you wanted that pushing 25 to 30%. Targets per game at almost 8 per game, 7.8 is okay, but you need it to be more like 8 to 10. You need him to take a little bit more command of this offense. 85% route participation rate. You need him to take a 25+% share. That's where he would become more consistent and give you those pop-off games. The volume's not there, and as you see by these target shares, and remember Brenton Strange soaking up targets before he went out, and then Travis Etienne, when he's hot, he's getting targets, and you got a 12% Dyami Brown, a 13% Parker Washington, almost 18% Travis Hunter. Yeah, that's eating into it. That's impacting Brian Thomas Jr. That is impacting him a little bit. Now, when you're looking at Dyami Brown and Parker Washington, recency stats says Parker Washington, next man up, easier one to forecast. I think Dyami Brown could be a sneaky play. Could be a sneaky play. Both of them got good ADOTs, getting it downfield. Someone's going to have to take the short shit like Travis Hunter was getting because he was running ADOT of 7.8. That makes sense for him, and considering he's ramping up to the league, and he spread it out, got deeper last game. Also, that was a busted-ass game script. You're looking at this, Parker Washington versus Dyami Brown. Parker Washington, I'd keep closer to the line of scrimmage due to being less explosive, less bursty. That's something I'd pay attention to, but you want to watch that. Dyami Brown can get it downfield pretty good. Tim Patrick, crafty vet. Don't be surprised if they mess around with him. You're looking at these matchups here. You got the Raiders this week, and Vegas don't like this matchup too much. The Raiders don't really get busted wide open too often by wide receivers. That's one thing you can say. The Chiefs busted them wide open last game, but they'll get you to the fairway. And Brian Thomas Jr. is going to lead this team in targets. So you're really looking at those matchups here where there's going to be a lot of flow, and also where they can take away completely Brian Thomas Jr., and they got to go to their second and third reads more often. You got Houston, which is a game script that could have some firepower, but a defense that can hold them in check a bit. You got the Chargers coming back. That is an interesting game script to look at because they got the firepower to push it, and they also got the defense to allow them to go to second and third reads. Arizona, they're always in weird busted-ass game scripts. They lost to the Titans, the only team to do so far. That's interesting to pay attention to. And when you're looking at the fantasy rankings here, we're looking at Jaguars, Raiders, 44.5 overall under, middle of the road for the week when it comes to over-unders. So moderate movement projected by Vegas in this game. You're right now looking at Parker Washington being ranked 62nd among wide receivers. How far up would this bump him up in the rankings? Not super high. Not super high. Can you put him ahead Kendrick Bourne, Keisha Butte area? Can you put him up that much higher? Can you put him up higher than Elikayomin early? Can you do that knowing that Brian Thomas Jr. is there? Like, he may outscore him, but we know going in that there's some opportunities that needs flushed out. Dyami Brown, other pass catchers, flow of the offense, flexed 126th among running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. Him or Chigakwankwu. Him versus Travion Henderson, Chuba Hubbard. I imagine he's going to be jumped up a bit. I imagine the fantasy football community is going to talk him up a lot. I also think Dyami Brown's forgotten about a little bit. I think he's a solid play in deep format. Why are you interested in Parker Washington? More targets. Why are you interested in Dyami Brown? More targets, more opportunity, splash potential. Tim Patrick, 16 team plus, deeper formats. If you got to start 5 wide receivers in a flex, you're looking at that as well. You're looking at these changes as gambles, lottery tickets, just in case something evolves in this offense. We're also coming back from a bye. Not elite talent. I don't like Parker Washington. I don't like him as a prospect. I never did, never will. I think he can sneak away with volume here and there. Trevor Lawrence does like to look his way in certain occasions. I think Dyami Brown is very explosive. I think he can be a deep get for deeper leagues. 14 team plus, starting 5+ wide receivers with flexes on top of that. You're looking at that with Dyami Brown. But I would not be surprised if he outscores Parker Washington. I'm not looking at Parker Washington as a must get. I'm looking at him as a speculative pickup just in case the targets ramp up. And if I'm hurt that bad, bye weeks, injuries, maybe. But I'm also looking at some of my running backs that I have, those backup running backs. I don't want to drop anybody that I'm stashing that I like a lot. Like those stash running backs that I keep talking about, probably not making that play. I don't think it's going to be consistent. I think it'll be up and down. Travis Hunter wasn't consistent. Travis Hunter only hit for 1 game. With Travis Hunter out, does that mean another wide receiver is going to start scoring? No. More could go to Brian Thomas Jr. Targets should fan out more. That means Dyami Brown should be getting more. When a wide receiver goes out, all the targets just don't go to the next guy. It fans out. The offense changes. I'm not expecting that to happen for Parker Washington. I don't see him as a must-get pickup. I see him as a gamble, and the deeper your league, the better chance you got of using it. In traditional 12-team leagues, only if you're hurting, I would not be dropping anybody of significant value, handcuff backs, lottery ticket backs that have immense upside. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.